What's going on, everybody? I'm Patrick from POWLAX, and welcome to the second week of POWLAX Picks and Bets. We got a lot of games to go through. It's going to be fun. Let's get into it. First, make sure to like and subscribe on this video. If you enjoy the content, just hit the like button, subscribe. I think it's like 70 or 80% of the people don't subscribe, which is fine. I really don't mind, honestly. But, if you want to subscribe. And then if you access the content a lot, YouTube will give it to you more. This video is brought to you by POWLAX.com. This is where we house all of the POWLAX content, and we organize it so that it's a lot easier to find because there's a lot more than what YouTube shows you. So our Master Coach section, this is all of our strategy stuff, set plays, man up, transition, offense and defense, box lacrosse. Drills, we've got offensive drills, tons of passing drills, dodging drills. Then you got stuff like concept drills, like the Salisbury slide and recovery drill. That's a really fun one. And then player favorites, Duke scrapping drill, West Jenny, 3v2 to 4v3. These are more where you get to play. I'm going to have to add a few more of these to this section as well. Then skill development. This is our just skills, right? Teach how to do skills correctly, especially for a lot of new players, how to do it in the backyard, drills that you can do. Wall ball. These 5-minute wall ball sections are actually like audioed to you, so it tells you when you switch. And then trick videos. I like these. I think these are cool. I don't know how many people access these. And then some highlight videos I made a few years ago. Finally, my favorite one, the new to lacrosse section. If you have anyone who's new to lacrosse, send them this section of the website. The What is Lacrosse video will give them an understanding of where lacrosse comes from, what its modern representations are, and it really puts people on the right foot. This is actually one of my most popular videos consistently through the year because people do share it, and it's just a great video. Finally, you have choosing the right stick, which will help players pick a stick that's not one of the cheap $30 ones off of the rack that they're going to throw the ball into the ground every time they try to throw, which then ruins their first experience of the sport, which then they might not come back. So that's what we have for the who's sponsoring. We're sponsoring ourselves, baby. It's what we do. So now we're going to do this in two sections. First, we're going to pick the winners, right? We're gonna pick through all of the games. Then I'm gonna show you the bets that are available, and then we're gonna go through the bets that I made. We'll probably go through the bets I made last week, which was a utter failure because I was picking all super underdogs because those are the ones that have the most financial upside. But then Duke swooped in and saved me last week because at the end of Saturday, I didn't win a one. But then I think I put Duke for I don't know. I used the spread, and then Duke was, I think, up 2 or down 2 at half or something, and I was like, oh man, I don't think they're going to cover with their 6.5. But so, let's get right into it. I think we're going to use this guy this time. So, first, I was going to use East Coast Die's pick thing, but then I did it, and I thought they'd email me a copy, but they didn't, which is probably my fault because they probably didn't. I didn't click a button that said, do you want this emailed like they had last week? But so the East Coast Dies, if you go to their blog, they do a thing where basically you put in your email and you pick all the picks. And if you do really well and you win throughout the year, you can just pick, or you can get like free gloves and stuff. So I thought that was cool. I was going to use their program, but then I submitted the form and then it didn't get emailed to me, so I'm not going to go over that. But it's basically all the same thing we're doing. If you want to do it, go do it. Make sure you submit every week because it's not a percentage base. It's a total number of correct picks. I am one of 183 people that picked 14 of 15 correct. There were only like 3 people that picked the Mount St. Mary's win over Navy last week. And so, yeah, have fun. It's definitely a good time. It's definitely kind of fun to just make your picks, right? I think it's fun. So, in our first game of the weekend, we've got Duke over Manhattan. That's an easy one for Duke. High Point over Colgate. North Carolina Richmond is one that I think North Carolina is going to win. but I would definitely pick Richmond in an upset. I think I threw $20 on this game for Richmond to win. I think North Carolina's like, I think it's like minus 675, something like that. So they're definitely big favorites, but Richmond is a very good team, and I know Tremonti's going to have them firing on all cylinders. So next we've got Towson Hopkins. This is another kind of toss-up for me. I think Hopkins will win because they've played a game so far, but Towson and Sean Nadelin, man, they're always a beast defensively, and so that'll be a good game to watch. So in my picks, I picked North Carolina and Hopkins. Just stayed with the favorites. Next, I got Siena over LIU. I've got UMass Lowell over Quinnipiac, Lehigh over NJIT, Army over UMass. This is another one that's you're allowed to bet. Marquette over Bellarmine, Marist over Binghamton. I picked Merrimack over BU, which that's a toss-up too. I think Boston traditionally has a great program as well. I like Merrimack a ton. And I recognize that they're not even in their conference tournaments or can't be in the NCAA tournament. I don't know what that's all about. I recognize that they came from Division II, but they're a beast of a program, right? And so that just winning culture and the way they recruit, I think that they're going to be a real force here soon. Next, I picked Bryant over Providence. I think Pressler's just awesome. I'm pretty sure it's Pressler that's up there, right? The old Duke coach. If I'm wrong, let me know. I picked Hobart over Canisius. If you can watch this game, the Hobart game, they're so fast in the middle of the field. They're definitely a lot of fun to watch. Ohio State over Cleveland State. I picked Fairfield over Stony Brook. Now, if something crazy happens, I don't know who the Stony Brook coach is, but if something crazy happens and Spallina ends up taking the Stony Brook men's job, that'd be cool. Because his coaching, I met him at LaxCon, and he was an awesome dude, and it was just like watching him like think about the game and like how he trains it. Like, he was very, very fun to watch and just talk to. Good dude. Next, I picked Hofstra over Sacred Heart, Lafayette over VMI. Someone did a post on Lafayette's game against Penn State last week, and I guess they stayed in the game really well against Penn State, and so someone was saying that their coach could be one of the new, possible coaches of the year, which I think is cool. I like watching a lot of the really like top 10, top 20 games because it's still great lacrosse, right? It's still really good lacrosse. It's still cool to kind of see the strategies that they put in place. But I recognize that for most people, they're like, I just want to see the best players play. But, I like those games. Next, I took Maryland over Loyola. That one could go either way this early in the season, but Maryland looked to be killing it last weekend, so I definitely took Maryland. I took Navy over Mercer. Navy losing to Mount St. Mary's, I think they come back with a vengeance, and I think they crush Mercer here. So I'd actually probably take the spread on that one if they have it, which I don't think they do, but maybe they do. I don't know. Next, I took St. Joseph's over St. Bonnie's. Vermont, Utah. This one is a upset in the making for sure. Utah played DU to 1. Right? Now, Vermont's an excellent team, and they got smoked in the second half against Duke, but it's also Duke. So Danowski could have been like, hey, we're only going to try to score in this way because we need to work on it. I actually don't know that he'd say that, but I did notice that Duke versus whoever they played first versus Vermont, it wasn't as transition pushy this week, or in the second game, in the very beginning of the games. It wasn't like Brendan O'Deal didn't catch the ball on the first play of the game on the wing and then dodge over the top and score like he did in the game that was on Friday night. But so I think Utah could take this game. I know Vermont is, I think, like minus 375 favorites, but so this would be a fun one to watch. I didn't get to watch the Utah DU game, but I know DU obviously with Tierney, and they're good. So we'll see. Next, Syracuse versus Holy Cross. Got to take Syracuse there. Bucknell versus Robert Morris. I'm taking Robert Morris because they made the tournament 3 years ago, and I know they're a good program. They've won their league a few times, but Bucknell is a team who I love their coaching style, and they are up and down the field really well. They like to run a 10-man ride, which is just an excellent portion of the game. I love that idea. I love putting a lot of pressure on people. And early in the season, if they have it dialed in, which they should because they've ran it for years, that can be a real issue for teams clearing, right? Like clearing is such a huge issue once you start pressing people. Next, I picked Michigan over Detroit Mercy, Rutgers over St. John's. I picked Mount St. Mary's over Delaware. That's my upset of the week, but I really think, that one could go either way for me as well, but I think they're on a roll. I think they did well. They beat Navy. I don't know how good Navy's going to be this year, but in the same sense, that upset kind of shook people, so I'm going to stick with them. Denver over Air Force, and then I picked Penn State over Villanova. I don't know that is a good pick either. I think Villanova is actually the favorite, but we'll get into that in just a second. So now let's go to the betting odds and all of the bets. So here are the lists of games that you can bet on. Now note, this is not a recommendation. I am not telling you what to do. I am not a good bettor. Okay, I just think it's fun to share what I'm doing and to show you how terrible of a bettor that I am. Now, let's first just go over from last week how terrible of a bettor that I am. So first, picked High Point. That would have been an upset over, I think it was Maryland. Lost. Picked Utah over Denver. That was close. They lost, I think, 13-14. Lost. Jacksonville. Lost. Merrimack. Lost. And then then literally on Saturday I was like, okay, I gotta try and not lose money this weekend. So I picked Duke with the 4.5 spread over, I forget exactly who it was, over Vermont, right? And they were up 2, I think, at half, or they were down 2 at half, one of those. And then they stormed back and just destroyed them in the second half. But so that one won, which was nice, and then I picked a parlay of Providence, Hofstra, and Duke, and those were all pretty easy games. But so I really like these parlay picks. I think they're cool. I like to the whole I'm gonna pay $675 to possibly win $100 doesn't make sense to me. I recognize that $100 is $100 if you have the money to put down on it, if you know that team's gonna win. But I think I'm gonna start using the spread a bit more because I think it's it can make sense. I didn't even know what to call it last week because I never use it, but so we'll see. But so this is not advice. I'm not very good at this, so just recognize that and understand. Don't follow along with me if you don't think they're good picks. Okay. First, High Point plus 6.5. So I think, hold on, this one, I picked the wrong thing. I think I need to go back and pick this again. Or no, I think High Point will be within 6.5 of Virginia. I think High Point could win this game. They shocked them in 2019 at Klockner. Is it Klockner in Virginia? I don't know. But so High Point beat them early in the season a couple years ago. They just played Maryland, and I think that they could win it, but I definitely think it'll be closer than 6.5. Of course, if Virginia's firing on all cylinders, there's really nothing they can do. I don't think if everything plays out and both teams have the best games that they can play, Virginia's going to win. Next, I've got Utah over Vermont. Like I said, Utah played DU really tough. I think that they could surprise Vermont. Now, Vermont's coming off the loss of Duke, and so I think they're going to be adjusted and ready to go. The cool thing about this game is that both teams have played a game, and so they're both going to have film on that team, and so you're already going to be able to see adjustments made by the coaching staffs. And that's part of it that I really enjoy, because when you hop into a game and you think you're going to see the same old thing, now you're seeing certain shutoffs or certain other man ups or certain other man downs that you can, you're seeing them play mental games against each other as well. So I hope this is what this means. I hope that this means that High Point will not lose. Okay, so it's High Point plus 6.5. So at the end of the game, if High Point loses by 6, I win. Right? I hope so. We'll see. Next, I took Towson over Hopkins, and I think this strictly because Sean Nadelin is a great defensive coach. I think that they will always have some firepower. I think that they are so funny story. I was at IMLCA convention a couple years ago, and Sean Nadelin was doing a defensive whiteboard presentation, and it was just one of the more what would you call it? It was one of the more personal ones. They have section. Basically, you have a big room, and they spread out into there's 5 separate ones going on at the same time. But so I asked him how he created the best defensive midfielders there were, and I forget the guy's name. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now. Either way, he's the best D-midi in the PLL now. And it was funny because I'm like, how did you train him to be the best player ever? And he's like, you should ask his parents because it wasn't me. And I thought that was very cool of him because he obviously didn't create the player himself. He just, got to play in his system. So I took Towson over Hopkins. That's I think I picked Hopkins on the actual picks through East Coast Dies. And now we're getting into my nice parlays. So I'm actually getting into the over-unders, and I'm picking overs in all 3 of these games. North Carolina, Richmond, Vermont, Utah, and Syracuse, Holy Cross. Now, Syracuse is going to have to put up 23 points to have that over hit, but I think they probably will. I think that their very first game coming out with Gary Gate at the helm, I think they're going to be firing on cylinders. I think they're going to do really, really well. Now, that might be a stretch. That might be the one that I lose this bet on, which is fine. But that's going to be a fun game to watch, and I'm excited to see if Holy Cross can put up some competition as well, because they're a team that can come in and if Syracuse is kind of having an off day, or their systems aren't integrated yet, or whatever may have it, they could put up a good fight. But I think that there's going to be a substantial amount of goals in the game. So hopefully those work too. Next, I've got a 5-pick parlay. These are all money lines, I think. But so these are basically all of the favorites for the week, which it almost doesn't make sense to pick all of these at once, I guess, to get to where is the odds on this one? I want to say it's I don't even know. Plus 162. Here it is. So North Carolina, Maryland, Vermont over Utah, which is switched from down there, which makes sense. Bryant over Providence, and then Army over UMass. So we'll see how these do. Hopefully they do pretty well. I'm not sure if I hit all of the actual bets, so let's just go click on this and go over. So you've got North Carolina, Richmond, Towson, Hopkins, Maryland, Loyola, Vermont, Utah, Providence, Bryant, Army versus UMass, Syracuse, Holy Cross, Penn State, Villanova, and then on Sunday you've got Georgetown's Hopkins, and then Virginia, High Point. So this game, Georgetown, Hopkins, that's one where I think Georgetown could smash Hopkins. I know they're picked really high. I think they're 4th on all of the polls, but they haven't played yet. Hopkins will have played not only once, but this will be their second play during the weekend. So I think I'm going to take but see, the whole spread thing kills me, right? Because that's where I would want to just say I think Georgetown's going to win, but it kind of is what it is. But so that'll be a fun one to watch. I know Georgetown in the early season last year kept a bunch of teams to 1 or 2 goals, which was just amazing. But so I know they have some really good firepower. So it'll be a fun game to watch. And then obviously your Virginia High Point game, that's always a fun one. Those teams are both very good, and High Point has a tendency of upsetting players or upsetting top 5 teams early. But so that is going to wrap up our Lacrosse, our POWLAX picks for the day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell if you like to see these or any of the other videos that I make. We're going to have a few new ones coming out here soon. And so you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.